Did the Hellcat engine stories reach you? That Hellcat of the 1960s was too fast and too expensive in the thrilling world of high-performance cars. The Hellcat engine reigns supreme like a king among royalty. But instead of a crown, it wears a throttle, and instead of speaking, it roars with power. This supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi engine isn't just an engine, it's a force to be reckoned with. It doesn't just make a gentle purr, it lets out a mighty roar that sends chills down the spine of every car enthusiast. So, let's take a closer look at this mechanical marvel that's more than just a powerhouse. It's a symphony on wheels, backed by a warranty for peace of mind. The engine lies in its 2.4-liter supercharger, furiously spinning at 15,000 revolutions per minute to generate a staggering 11 pounds of boost. But to really get why the Hellcat is so special, we don't have to keep talking about the numbers. We need to look back at its roots, the powerful Hemi engines from the 1960s that ruled both the streets and the racetracks. These old-school engines laid the groundwork for the Hellcat, creating a legacy of thrilling performance that continues to excite drivers everywhere. The Hemi engine has an interesting origin story. It didn't start under the hood of a car, but way up in the sky, powering the powerful P-47 Thunderbolt during the war. Chrysler was behind this innovation, creating the XI 2220, a huge engine with 2,500 horsepower meant for fighter planes. Although it was only a prototype and never went into production, this early version of the Hemi engine set the stage for its future success. After the war, when Chrysler shifted its focus from airplanes to cars and introduced the Firepower V8 in 1951, this was the first engine to be built with a hemispherical combustion chamber, marking a big change in car power and performance. The unique shape of the engine allowed it to have bigger valves and better airflow, which meant more power. This was a big improvement, but the new design also made the engine heavier and larger, which affected how fast it could go at high speeds. This revolutionary engine was used in the Chrysler 300, often considered the first muscle car. Named for its impressive 300 horsepower, the Chrysler 300 was more than just a speedy car. It was a bold statement of Chrysler's intentions to race in NASCAR, the thrilling world of car racing. Chrysler's engineers took on a challenging project, creating a powerful engine that could withstand extreme conditions. They started with a large, sturdy iron block and thickened the walls inside it to ensure it could handle lots of power without any issues. The top part of the engine, called the cylinder head, was designed in a special dome shape, which is why they named it the Hemi engine. This design allowed the engine to pull in more air and fuel, boosting its power. To enhance this effect, the engineers also widened the air pathways into the engine, allowing a greater flow of air and further increasing the engine's power. NASCAR had a rule that engines could not be larger than 427 cubic inches. Chrysler cleverly made their engine 426 cubic inches, just small enough to meet the rule. They designed the engine with a wide bore, which is the diameter of the cylinders, and a short stroke, the distance the pistons move up and down. To make sure the engine could handle the intense demands of racing, every component was reinforced. The crankshafts, which helped turn the engine's power into movement, were specially treated with heat and chemicals. This process made them extremely hard and durable, ready to take on the high stresses of racing speeds and conditions. The 1964 Daytona 500 was a crucial moment for Chrysler's new Hemi engine. It was here, at this major race, where all the best drivers and cars came together. The Hemi engine proved to be a beast on the track. Richard Petty, one of the most famous race car drivers, drove his Plymouth Belvedere with a Hemi engine and won the race. Not only did he win, but the top 3 finishers all drove cars powered by the Hemi. This showed everyone just how powerful and special the Hemi engine was. NASCAR made a new rule. This rule required that if a company wanted to race with a certain engine, they also had to sell some regular cars with that same engine to the public, not just to racers. As we talk of the era, car manufacturers like Chrysler started putting incredibly potent engines into cars accessible to everyday folks. Can you name any other car manufacturers from that exciting time? Share your answers in the comments below. This marked the beginning of the era of the iconic 1960s muscle cars, which remain hugely popular and beloved today. These cars weren't just for racing, they brought high performance to the regular streets. combining practicality with the thrill of speed. The Hemi engine wasn't just for racing on tracks. People used it for all kinds of races, like drag racing, where cars go super fast in a straight line. This engine could be tweaked to run on different fuels and could handle a lot of punishment, so it was the top choice for racers who wanted to zoom ahead. Even though the Hemi had to stop racing in NASCAR because of new rules, it made a huge impact on the racing world. Its design was so good that it's still used in some racing today. For car fans, the Hemi isn't just an engine. It's a legendary symbol of speed and power that gets their adrenaline pumping. In 1966, something really cool happened for car lovers. Chrysler decided to take a super strong engine, the AA102 426 Hemi, and put it into regular cars that people could drive every day. This was the same kind of engine that had been winning races, but they made some changes to make it better for normal driving. The first cars to get this awesome engine were the Plymouth Belvedere and the Dodge Charger. To me, Chrysler was just a risk taker. Am I wrong? Just tell me in the comment section if there is another car manufacturing company taking these risks now. But did you know Street Hemi was a bit different from the racing version? It had a bit less squeezing power, which means it didn't press the air and fuel as hard in the engine. It also had a gentler camshaft, which is like the part that helps the engine breathe. Instead of fancy racing parts, it had strong cast iron parts and a special kind of intake with 2 carburetors, which helped the engine breathe better. But don't think this made the Street Hemi weak. It still had a powerful 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. This meant it could go faster than most other big engines out there. It kept the great design of the racing Hemi, like the special shape of the cylinder heads and big valves, which let it take in a lot of air. With just a few changes, like a different camshaft and some exhaust upgrades, this street engine could easily make over 500 horsepower, just like the race engines. There's a cool story about a guy on YouTube who tested a 426 Hemi that was pretty much like the ones in the cars you could buy, and it made an impressive 490 horsepower. These Hemi-powered cars were some of the quickest around. A car magazine even wrote about a Plymouth Satellite with a 426 Hemi that could finish a quarter-mile race in just 13.8 seconds, going over 103 miles per hour. The early street Hemis faced a challenge. They were in big, heavy cars that weighed around 4,000 pounds. It wasn't until Chrysler came up with a new, lighter car platform designed for speed that the Hemi truly shined. The 1970 Dodge Challenger was the perfect match for the street Hemi. It was lighter and more nimble than the larger Charger, and it was built to compete with other popular cars like the Mustang and Camaro. The Challenger RT, the high-performance version, offered different engine options. You could choose from a 383 Wedge, a 440 Magnum, or the top-of-the-line 426 Hemi, which came with a hefty price tag. Even though there was a cheaper 440 engine that was almost as powerful, the 426 Hemi was something special. It was made for speed and excelled at going fast in a straight line. When paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, it could finish a quarter-mile race almost a full second quicker than cars with the 440 engines. Dodge advertised the Challenger RT Hemi as part of the Scat Pack, a group of super-fast Dodge cars that could finish a quarter-mile race in 14 seconds or less. This included models like the Charger RT and the Coronet RT. At the dealership, you could even add Scat Pack options to make your car look cooler or go faster. To me, this was like narrating a movie. The 426 Street Hemi wasn't just an engine, it was the heart of some of the most thrilling cars of its time. It gave everyday drivers the excitement of NASCAR-level power during their regular drives, and transformed the cars it powered into legendary machines on the road. What do you think? Have the Hellcat's changes left a lasting impact on our car culture today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into a discussion to see who truly knows their stuff when it comes to Hellcat. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us on our journey. Hit that bell for instant notifications so you never miss out on our exciting content. Until next time, keep those engines roaring and those wheels spinning.